pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome back, alphas and betas, mainly alphas, and Merry Christmas. Got a special guest today, a 69-year-old male who's a mentor of mine. He's retired like 3 or 4 times. I don't know. I don't even know what you're doing right now anymore. He's a philanthropist, horrible golfer, bad gambler, and has all the germs, I guess, in the world. And most impressingly, he punched out his high school basketball coach back in the day when you could. So I would like to introduce my father, Scott Smith.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Hot AF show, Dad.
I'm glad to be here.
We'll just get right into it. Did you, do you know what today is?
Today is December 28th.
No, it's Middle Child Day.
Middle Child Day. He's my favorite middle child.
Did you know that it was Middle Child Day today?
No, I had no idea.
That's right. You forgot. That's okay.
That's what you do with the middle child.
It's typically ignored or forgotten. Please don't fall asleep. You were yawning a minute ago. My dad has narcolepsy. I do too. It's hereditary. Different types of narcolepsy. I'm not going to just fall asleep while I'm talking or giving an interview to someone, although my guest here has fallen asleep. True story, has fallen asleep while interviewing someone in an executive position, in fact, a CFO, and the nerd was so boring that mid-interview he wakes up and I guess missed what the guy had to say.
Just a little bit. Didn't hire him.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't get the job. So, Dad, you've been such an influence on my life. I don't know if it's good or bad, but, you taught me how to save. You offered me this deal when I was a little kid that every dollar I made, because I worked, I cut grass. I sold Armor All back before Armor All was a brand. Door to door, people like that guy at the end of the street that had a Porsche, the prick at the and I tried to sell him Armor All. I didn't even know. Again, Armor All wasn't a brand. We should have trademarked it then. About this white milky stuff that you put on your tires and it makes it shine. And he looked at me like, "This is a Porsche," and I don't know what he's doing today.
He's the one that put an ad in the newspaper saying he's worth $5 million and he's looking for a new wife.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
You can't make that up.
His wife left him, and he had even put signs in his front yard. He lived about 2 doors down from us. Had signs in his front yard like those for sale signs that said, "Looking for wife, large net worth."
Oh wow! I wonder if he had a penis enlargement.
I think he was gay.
Like at the club we had membership to, and there was one guy in there that, let's just say he was proud of himself. I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor for this show. It's 0% Liberal. Getting the camera here. Actually, I don't even know what 0% Liberal is a brand or not. I just keep buying the apparel and the tumbler. So I support that brand, although I think it's multi-owned. So anyway, you taught me how to save. When I'm 16 years old, whatever I have in my bank account, you'll match. And I've offered my kids that. Although I was telling Jet, the other day, we're talking about cars. We live by a Lamborghini dealership, and I always that thing is so awesome. They had an awesome Hummer, all decked out, like original H1 Hummer. It was like a gray pewter type color, light bars. It was like I drove by it every day going to school, just looking at it like, oh man, that's so awesome. Lamborghinis, they had some Ferraris there, a couple Bentleys and a couple Rolls Royces and whatever. And I was just, talking about these cars. And Jet goes, yeah. Because I was like, what kind of car do you like? What are you interested in? And he goes, I think I'm just going to Uber it. And
Sign of the times.
I said, well, that's totally different than when I grew up. I couldn't wait to have a car. And, so I guess when I'm telling you about saving your money, maybe save your money so you can Uber. But that's I'm okay with it because you don't have to pay for insurance.
Right.
And I mean, hell, maybe buy a Tesla and you just type it in and it drives for the other kids. I don't know. So, but I think it's a lifelong lesson in terms of teaching me how to save or teaching one how to save. Brody's carbon copy, he doesn't spend a nickel. You taught me about business and ultimately work ethic. As I said in the intro, you've retired, 3 or 4 times?
Yep.
I don't know, because you can't stop working. And I'm a believer that if you stop working, you die. And so you also taught me how to gamble and invest. If you want to, to me, it's 2 and 2. The stock market is gambling. It's also investing, but it's rigged. Speaking of that, you taught us kids on a field trip. I forget how old I was, but it was grade school when you take field trips. He was on the back of the bus teaching the kids how to play blackjack.
Or teaching them math.
Well, I guess you can't say blackjack anymore. You probably have to say 21 because blackjack might be offensive. But yeah, you could say you teach math. You want to try to get to 21, not over. And did you take our money?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Can't do that today. You'd get arrested.
Be child abuse.
Be child abuse unless you're Joe Biden. And then you also taught me when to fight and when not to fight. I was walking out of a basketball game, I remember, in elementary school, maybe, I don't know, 3rd grade, 4th grade. And I had chewing gum in my mouth. And there was a little bank that was kind of, I don't know, like a couple trees, some bark, whatever, mulch on the ground. And I took my gum out and I threw it into the...
Well, I told you to throw it out. You were getting in your uncle's car. He had a brand new car, and I said, throw your gum out before you get in the car.
Oh, okay, so your fault.
So I told you.
Well, I never knew that until today. So I threw my gum out into the bushes, and this hot shot just happened to be going down this little hill where there was a stop sign, and he thought I was throwing rocks at his car or something, and he was on a date. And all I remember is Father here sashaying down the hill and pulls the guy out of the car. They exchange some words. He pulls the guy out of the car and punches him. And that date was over real fast. So do you want to regale the audience on that story?
Yeah, let me tell you the truth about it. I'd asked Michael to throw the gum out so he wouldn't get it on the floor of his uncle's new car. And as he threw it out, this guy was driving down. He thought he threw a rock at him, and he yelled at my son. And I went over, and he had the window rolled up, and I asked him to roll it down. And I said he wasn't throwing gum at you or rocks at you. He was throwing his gum out of his mouth. And he called me a liar. He said no, he wasn't. He was throwing rocks. And so I didn't really pull him out of the car. I just punched him through the window.
Oh, I thought
the window
you
was
pulled him
down.
out.
No. Well, he ended up getting out. But, I ended up pulling him out after I punched him. We're on the ground wrestling. Not one of my most favorite times to be considered respectful.
Well, I thought it was awesome. He wanted to wrestle?
Well, he didn't want to. We ended up wrestling. And he ended up getting blood all over him, not because of my punches, but because I had his face in the gravel.
That's awesome. I just again, I'm like,
You're like, 6,
7 years old, whatever. And you're pulling out and wrestling, whatever. And that, you think your dad's Superman. It's like, ha, look at you. You're getting your butt kicked. And, well, good thing he didn't know jujitsu because, jujitsu, I don't know even know was brought over at that time, but,
yeah, but I knew karate.
Yeah, well.
Enough to get hurt.
The saying with people that take karate is you can see the jujitsu guy hand trying to pick you up.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm a white belt. So.
Yeah, but I was a yellow belt with the brown tab
Oh, that's called a stripe.
stripe. I forgot. It's been that long ago.
But I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Kind of, I don't know it all. I get choked a lot, which is great, but it's also fun choking people. Anyway, so when to fight, when not to fight. So he stuck up for his son, and I would do the same thing. And didn't they go to your church, his parents or something?
His parents did, yeah.
Again, today you'd be sued.
Sued.
And you were rich back then, too.
I had some money.
Well, that's not why you were rich. You had white privilege on your side back in 1987.
Yep.
But backing up from that, I remember the story you were telling me about in high school, when you were in high school and you transferred high schools or something, and you transferred to the rival team, and something happened, and the coach your old coach was talking trash or whatever, and you decided to let him feel your fist. Can you remind me of that story? That way it's recorded now.
Yeah.
So I'll have it forever.
That's, again, I'm getting old. I can't remember everything. That was back when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
My father, your grandfather, had just died of cancer. I'd been sick for a year, and and I was going to the school where this coach that he's talking about that I had a fight with was my head coach, and nobody liked him. He just was not respected by anyone, any of the players or anything like that. So I finally left school and I went to another school, and because we'd actually moved out of the school district. So they had offered to let me stay in that school district to play basketball as long as I played football. And I didn't like this coach, and basketball was my favorite sport. So anyway, long story short on that is, went to another school, came back to that school to play a game, and I was I was a junior or a sophomore, and they played me up typically. But in that time, they didn't play me up because I was so frustrated with this guy and angry that I couldn't play. So they did not move me up. So I sat up in the stands with guys that I had played basketball with since fourth grade. And my girlfriend was a cheerleader on that team. So I'm sitting up there, and they're telling me, they said, you should have heard the coach talk about you at halftime, said you had the brain of an amoeba. Well, an amoeba is a one cell, with just a one cell. So it means nothing. It means you're stupid, basically. So that was the excuse I used to confront him after the game, went out to midcourt and just said his name, and nobody calls me names like that. And I hit him in the stomach. He bent over. I hit him in the jaw. And next thing you know, I had 5 men on me, holding me up against the wall. I had a cheering section, in fact.
Nice.
I had literally all the fans that, they just could not stand this guy. And they were saying, hit him again, hit him again. I didn't hear all this. This is what I was told. My older brother was in the stands. He came down and pulled the guys off of me. And anyway, that was the end of the story there. I got kicked off the team. Had to go back to school with my mother and the principal and the athletic director, and to meet with this coach and meet with them. And I was asked, do I have any regrets? And again, I'm a 15-year-old. My father just died. So I was asked if I had any regrets. And I said, yeah, I had one regret. And I'm not proud of this, but I'm just telling you the truth. But my regret is I didn't hit him harder. But
again, I love it, Dad. I love you. I love you just even more after hearing that, because I didn't hear that part of the story ever.
Well, that was a 15-year-old that just lost its father, so very emotionally raw. Now, one of the reasons I left that school is when my father was dying, I would get picked up by one of my sisters to go to the hospital to see my father, and I told the coach ahead of time during practice that I had to leave early, and he didn't want me to leave. And then my sister came even 15 minutes earlier than that, so half an hour early, and he wasn't going to let me leave, and I that's when I walked out, and that's when I decided it was time for me to change schools. And again, legally I could do it because I was in the wrong school district.
That's such a great story. It's unlike the story that came out recently of the football player that tackled the referee. Did you see that?
No.
High school football player. Bad call happened or something like that. Game, maybe it was like a a game changing penalty or something, whatever. And kids are bigger today. This guy runs out middle of the field, people are shaking hands, whatever, the referee's walking, and he just pummels this referee, like knocks him cold. He's being charged for it right now, rightfully. A little bit different, but we've lost the world of standing up for yourself. Now it's all over the keyboard. Keyboard warriors, they're called. ADD moment. How many genders were there when you grew up?
Let me count. 2.
There was 2. How many genders are there today? 5, 6, 7. Carry
as
the
many
1.
as you want.
There's 2.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Well, like I said, welcoming to the show the alphas and the betas, mainly alphas, although I welcome betas and soy boys and Tifa, the same thing. Looking forward to meeting you on, whenever we connect. Going back to, the good or bad influence, I don't know what you want to call it, because I've gambled in Bitcoin lately and I've done pretty well. And I didn't learn how to gamble until I came into your life, or you came into my life, whatever it's called. We were in Vegas, and it was my 21st birthday. And my cousin, who's my best friend, he's like a brother. He was on the show. I think my second episode, something with Jamie or whatever. And by the way, Jamie's cell phone still sucks. His cell service sucks because he's too cheap to get a real cell carrier. So shout out to Jamie. His bachelor party. And we're at the Mandalay Bay, and my other cousin was out there, and he's up like 40 grand. So jealous of that still. And so we had whatever we wanted, restaurants, cut in line anywhere, yada, yada. And we were, one night we're going to meet at this bar, like this lobby bar, right in the lobby, and figure out our plans, go to dinner, whatever it is. So we meet up. I was a little bit late. I think I was still at the tables or something. I was a little bit late, and I get there, and my dad's like, "Hey, here's my son I was telling you about. It's his birthday." It was actually a little bit past my birthday. My birthday is the end of February 21st, greatest day. And this was like March 21st, call it, because we went out there obviously always for the NCAA basketball tournament. And hey, there's my son Michael I was telling you about, and blah blah blah. It's his birthday, yada yada. And Michael, this is, I don't know, Roxanne and Sparkle or something. And they are so nice. They're the nicest people. They're from Ohio, and they've just been so friendly and blah blah blah. And I looked at him like kind of like, what the hell? And I pulled him away. And, it's a loud bar and whatever. I was like, Dad, did you just meet these girls? He's like, yeah, aren't they so nice? I said, they're hookers. No. They're what? I said, they're hookers. It's Vegas. They're at a bar. You don't see 2 single ladies that are, I don't even remember what they look like, but call it attractive. I don't know. But you don't see 2 single ladies at a bar talking to people that are being friendly or whatever and not be a hooker. And it was one of those memories that'll never, hey, welcome to Vegas. Later on that night, we end up going to the House of Blues at the Mandalay Bay. And again, these are, long lines, yada, yada. And due to riding the coattail of my cousin being up so much and the house wanting to keep him there, we cut right through the line. And because we were duly celebrating my birthday, cousin's bachelor party, we ended up getting up on stage at the House of Blues. As we're up on stage, there were some other people occupying it, and we didn't really care for that. I'm going to be called a racist now because it was Death Row Records that was there, and we sat down. They brought out couches for us. And this is before having a VIP area or, bottle service and stuff was cool. I don't even think it was like it even happened. So, early on. So they brought out these couches for us. Death Row's with us. We're partying and they're drinking all of our booze. And we're looking and we're like, hey, man, if you want to party with us, that's cool. But why don't you contribute with some of the bottles? And man, you know who we is. We Death Row. And I knew who they were. I liked Tupac at the time. And I don't know that you knew who Death Row Records was. They were there on a court date. Imagine that. In fact, that's where Tupac was shot, was Las Vegas, I believe. Anyhow, we ended up kicking Death Row Records off of the VIP stage in Las Vegas, and I swear we were going to get shot afterwards. But it was one of those events where, again, our white privilege took over, and we had a grand old time in Las Vegas. But what tops it all is the whole, these girls are so nice. They're, blah, 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 and they're hookers, Dad. But what do you know? What do you do? When did you get interested in politics?
Really not till probably in my late 30s. Just moved to Georgia.
All right.
Jimmy Carter had just become president. I had no idea who Jimmy Carter was because I literally just moved to Georgia months earlier and realized what he was doing. And business partner of mine was very into politics, very conservative, and he was telling me a lot about him, and that got me interested.
I remember growing up, you're 30 years older than me, almost exactly 30 years older, and politics were never really talked about.
Never talked about.
We talked about money. You're not supposed to talk about religion and money. We talked about money. We talked about religion. But we never talked about politics. In fact, I don't remember anything political until Desert Storm. And I think I was in the fourth grade. Fourth or fifth grade, something like that, with Desert Storm. And that's like my first memory of seeing a president on TV. And by the way, George H.W. Bush, I used to have a lot of respect for. He's the devil. Look it up. Do your research. He is, and his father, George W. Bush's grandfather, banker for the Nazis, and he's a Republican, and I'm calling him out. Yeah, because I'll call a spade on a political side. People think, oh, you Republican, blah, blah, blah. I'm not Republican. I'm sure as hell not Democrat, but I'm definitely not Republican. I'm a conservative. I consider myself a conservative, libertarian populist. I vote Republican because there's no other party. And I was on the stage with George W. Bush. I grabbed his mug. Remember that?
Yeah.
His water mug. I kept that. I got met him, got a signature on the ticket and whatever. And I was like staunch, GW. And now I wouldn't shake the guy's hand again. Do your research about how corrupt politicians are. And we're not talking about the China agent Joe Pedo Beijing Biden. We're talking about all the establishment from both sides. The establishment politicians are the true enemy in this world. And I'm talking Republican, Democrat, Rhino. There's very, very few that are true patriots. And, especially right now, it's starting to all come out, It's all about power. It's about money. You look at what's going on in Georgia right now. Governor Kemp, I met him. I was at his house years ago back in out in Athens. You think at the time I was in college, it's like, oh, cool, conservative, yada, yada. And then stuff starts to come out and you start following the money. It's like, Brian Kemp is corrupt as hell. They're all corrupt.
Power,
It's the power.
power and money and just longevity. They need to have term limits.
Well, it's got to be like a drug. I'm elected and I got so much power and I'm above the law because, okay, other than the guy that sold de Blasio, was it de Blasio that sold Obama seat or whatever
Chicago
it was?
mayor.
He was pardoned by Trump, but like, what politicians ever go to jail? There's so many people in jail right now from a military side, like Leavenworth or whatever, that did so much less than Hillary Clinton. But the Clinton Gambino crime family, they're untouchable.
Well, your local politicians, the city mayors, they'll go to jail. We've had 3 or 4 Atlanta mayors.
Yeah, what about the mayor of Atlanta? Is he in jail?
Well, which one? There's been several.
Jeez. Airport. I would go to the airport. That's the only thing I miss about Atlanta. Sorry, Dad. Is the airport, being able to fly directly anywhere. Kasim Osgood or what? Kasim Reed.
Well,
What's his name?
Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking. There's several that just
Kasim Osgood.
they all got paid off
Yeah.
by contractors.
Hey, imagine that. Lobbyists. What else? That's my dogs in the background. If anyone wants 2 golden doodles, slide into the DMs at Hot AF Show. My wife will say no, but maybe we can work a deal. Going back to the business that I was taught from here, father, mentor, philanthropist. Quick story when I say philanthropist. One of the coolest things ever growing up as a kid, and it's followed me now, and I still continue to think about it, is, and it's actually been kind of a life goal of mine, is to do something that mimics it, is my dad built a home. Didn't just write a check and, this goes to the United Way. It was very specific, but built a home for displaced families. And they helped rehabilitate the family and help them get jobs and get them back on their feet and stuff. It was called the Interfaith Outreach Home in Atlanta. And as a kid, I remember going there and I didn't understand how big of a deal it was until I got a little bit older. I went 1 year for service hours. Yeah, because I was, again, privileged, and I went to a private school, and we had to do service hours, community service hours, and one of them, as I went there, and I ended up painting an apartment room. I feel bad for the people that moved there because I suck at painting. Just throwing paint everywhere, probably paint at the windows. I don't know. But ultimately, it's a pretty cool. I don't even know how you came up with the concept. Was it a nun?
None from the Catholic Church that we belong to, and other churches. That's why it's called the Interfaith, because there were multiple denominations there, and they would meet on a regular basis. I think once a month, and they'd talk about the homeless problem that was in the north side of Atlanta, which is more affluent area. And I heard about this, and I was just shocked that there was anybody homeless in our area. It just didn't make sense to me. So met with her about that. Had sold a business, was fortunate enough to have some extra cash. My wife and I decided to make a donation to get the fund started, to get the building built, and then we raised additional funds to finish it and get it and keep it operational. That was back in 1988. It's still going very, very strong. In fact, we have probably, I think our numbers now are about 85% of the people that come into our home come in completely broke, truly homeless. And when they leave, and they can stay up to, we just expanded it from 1 year to 2 years. But once they leave, they end up leaving totally independent, self-sufficient, instead of being a tax burden, they're a taxpayer. And the biggest thing is that many of them come back and give their time, talent, and treasure to the interfaith outreach home. So it's been a true success.
Well, I mean, if that isn't living it right there, I don't know what is. So I'm serious when I say that it's very cool of what you did, Dad. And I, again, as a little kid, it's like with my kids right now, if we donate to a family or we do certain things here or there, they don't get it. And a lot of it, we don't even tell them about because we do it anonymously. But something that big, and got to meet Hank Aaron. Mm-hmm. In fact, one of those balls, the baseballs that are up there, I think that's the Hank Aaron's up there. But you also see the Mickey Mantle baseball. Well, if you look really closely, you can see Cheeto fingers on the Mickey Mantle sign ball that I found in the garage one year. Did Mickey Mantle, did he sign an endorsement with Cheetos?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, and he used his pinky or something? And after he was eating Cheetos and held it with his pinky?
I don't know the
story. Or is
story
it maybe it was kids?
I would say it's a kid.
Damn.
So it might have been you.
No, it wasn't me. It was
your kids?
It might have been my kids, or we'll call it the neighbor's kids. I don't know. But I thought Mickey Mantle had signed a huge endorsement deal with Cheetos.
I don't think
Frito-Lay or whatever it
they were
is.
even around then.
Yeah. But if you're interested in getting a one-of-a-kind Mickey Mantle autographed baseball with Cheeto fingers on it.
How's the picture? The picture's autographed. Is that clean?
Yeah, picture's mint.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't throw the picture. You can throw the baseball.
You really think they were out there throwing it?
I think that they were toying around with it because I had a big box of all the memorabilia.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the other stuff wasn't messed with, but I tell you what, it's a good story because you can buy another Mickey Mantle ball.
Yeah.
You can't buy a Mickey Mantle ball with Cheeto fingers on it, so I have a one of a kind. Eat it. What do you think is going to happen in the Georgia election, this runoff? I have my opinion.
Well, I'm a conservative, diehard conservative, and I still trust in honesty, although waning very quickly. I get it. But this is a runoff.
You said honesty.
Yeah, I know it's
God damn.
Yeah, it's hard to use that word along with politics. But first place, this is a runoff, so it's not like a presidential. Normally with a Senate race, the odd years, off years, you're going to get maybe 10%, 15% of the voters show up. With a runoff, again, typically you might get 5, 6, 7, less than 10%. So far, this early voting, they're coming out saying that about 20% of the voters have shown up or have voted already, either mail-in ballot, absentee ballot, or early voting. So it's definitely going to be more, but it's not going to be as much. So the least amount of people voting is going to be harder to cheat. They'll still cheat. I'm not questioning that. But it's going to be harder to bring in massive amounts of fake votes.
Well, here's the thing. You said 20%, but is that counting the cargo boxes that are under the desks that haven't been pulled out, that are mint condition, that are mailed in with signatures that don't match?
Yeah.
And Brian Kemp is just going, oh, it's perfectly fine. I mean, we were the most secured election.
I hear
There's
what you're
no
saying.
need to signature verify. How about the liberal bitch in California that she was so anti-signature verification until they wanted to recall.
Several, but which one are you talking about?
I don't know all of them, but there was one specific. She was so anti-signature verification because I don't know, it's racist. Until Gavin Newsom or whatever his name is wanted to get, or they were talking about like recalling him.
Yeah.
And they were going to do a signature verification. No, we need to signature verify the people that voted, or not voted, but petitioned the governor to get recalled. We need a signature verification there, not on the presidential election, because that's our globalist Chi-Com agent Joe Potato Biden. But that's politics. Hypocrites.
Well, again, going back to Georgia, my hope is, and my wish is that it's going to be a truly run with minimal cheating, and the Republicans get voted in. Therefore, we control the Senate. Now, I will not be shocked. I will not be shocked if the cheating doesn't happen, but there will be more eyes on there. There's going to be more lawyers involved. So I have hopes. I'm more optimistic, but we'll see.
No.
A week from tomorrow.
Yep. I am not that optimistic for that. I think they've raised over $200 million from the left-wing Satanists to get these people in office, and they're going to do it. You can cheat. Dominion is manipulatable. They can do whatever they want, and you see the spikes of votes. They can do whatever they want, and no one's going to do anything about it. And unfortunately, who's running? Purdue
and Loeffler. Kelly Loeffler.
I mean, she'll be fine. She's worth $500 million. Ended up selling stock before the pandemic because her husband runs a stock exchange. Similar to not Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, who's besties with Bill Gates, all of a sudden sells his entire position in the airlines right before the China plague. That wasn't planned.
Wasn't planned, but it happens.
No comment.
That's just one of many.
Elections are BS. Your vote doesn't count. Doesn't. Unless we fix it, unless we stand up and say no, and we got to figure out a new way. Like, absolutely no absentee ballot or voting unless you are deployed military or you are in the hospital because you're sick. That's it. I don't care if you're checking on granny out of state. Sorry. I don't care if you're on a vacation or you're doing, even humanitarian work in Africa. No. If it's not important to you to be there to vote and you're not military or sick in the hospital or elderly, when I say sick in the hospital, that includes nursing homes and that type of stuff. By the way, how about all the nursing homes where it's like, oh no, Mr. Johnson, you need to vote here, not here.
Guarantee that happened.
Goddamn. No, that is it. If you're a military deployed, sick in the hospital, that's it. You cannot, for convenience, do the mail-in ballot. Oh, but I winter in a different state. Sorry.
Right.
Take a flight, show up and vote.
Joe Biden, I think it was in the 70s, fought against mail-in balloting or mail-in ballots.
Yep.
Fought against it.
Yeah.
Said it would create so much illegal voting.
Well, let's not forget the quote that I've got a clip of. In fact, I can play it, but we've come up with the greatest voter fraud in American history.
Yeah.
And
Joe Biden.
Not 25 people will show up to his event, but 80 million people vote for him. Yeah, okay. And there was the other thing. I think it was like around Christmas time, Biden was going live on YouTube, making like an address, Christmas address, whatever, to people. It was like 800 people that tuned in for it. 800 people. And then Daddy Trump did the same thing. And there was hundreds of thousands of people that tuned in for that. But 80 million people that include verified dead people, people that are illegal. What else? People that are ineligible to vote, like you're underage. People that vote that aren't in the same state that they live in vote in a swing state. Sworn affidavits. And what I just learned today, like I knew what like an affidavit was in general, like, you know, you're like a statement. I didn't know how serious it was. If you have a sworn affidavit, you're going on record saying, if what I'm proclaiming right now is false, if I'm lying, I go to jail. It's not this, oh, you know, he was a witness or something, where it's not really that good of a witness, so we got to discount that or whatever. No, we're saying, hey, I'm signing away my freaking life pretty much, that if it's a pretty big gamble, if you're not legit. So how many hundreds or thousands of sworn affidavits were signed? One of them was the Department of Defense guy.
Yeah.
That's signed an affidavit about a plane that landed in Arizona with boxes full of ballots, all for Joe Biden. Excuse me, non-president-elect Joe Pedo Biden. That's what we're living in, and it's the globalist reset, the globalist takeover. Wrapping up, I'm going to end on a negative note and then a positive note. The negative note is, Dad, I'm really pissed that you didn't get into politics earlier and get into office, because I would love to have a couple $100 million just given to me for being on the board of a China company or a Ukrainian company and not do anything.
Well,
actually, I wouldn't, because I'd rather make my money.
That's it.
How much money have you given me, Dad?
From infant on up? Or
No, just like, hey, here's a trust fund.
Oh, let me think about that.
Carry the one.
I don't think I gave you any.
Yeah, 0.
That's right.
The one thing you did give me, ending on a positive note, again.
Oh, wait a minute. I gave you your first down payment on a house as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
You lost money on that deal.
I lost it all. And then some. In fact, I lost double. My dad had a Rolex watch when I was a kid. I always liked watches. My son, who was 2 years old, was attracted to watches. Oh, I want my watch. He'd say, my watch. And it was always the deal that, being the middle forgotten child, I wanted Dad's watch when he died. Well, I guess you haven't died yet. And then all of a sudden, Dad got tired of wearing the watch or just whatever. I don't know. And I get a package at my front door as I come home one day. No one's home. No one signs for it. It's a corrugated box with a little bit of bubble wrap in it, with a freaking gold presidential Rolex. No one signed for it, I said. You probably didn't even do insurance on it. So when you talk about no F's given, that's my dad. And I'm wearing it today. How about that? So thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
But other than that, like, when's my trust fund kicking in?
We're working on that now. Trying to find a politician that'll help, chip in to give me some money.
Yeah, because, I don't know. I don't have a trust fund.
Well, if my Bitcoins pay off, your kids will.
Okay.
I'm going to get 1 Bitcoin per grandchildren. We have 10 grandchildren. I have 5.25 Bitcoins now, so 4.37 Bitcoins left to go.
Hey, Dad. I'm not trying to flex here, but I have more Bitcoin than you do.
That'll be used from our nursing home.
I don't want a trust fund. I don't want an inherit. How much inheritance did you get growing up?
Oh gosh, let me get none.
Like to date?
None.
Did you carry the one?
Yeah, no. Hot. It was hot, and then one minus. I don't know. It turned out to be zero.
It's probably negative because you probably had to pay for
it's
arrangements.
It's a definite negative number.
Yeah.
Had to pay out more than I've ever gotten.
So yeah, no trust fund, no handouts. How are you getting a stimulus check?
I doubt. I don't think I'll get a stimulus check.
What's a stimulus check? Yeah, God.
But I'll tell you what, the most important thing I got was from my father, who had credibility. He died at 42 of cancer. But the credibility and the reputation that he had in that small town we were in was just top notch.
It's invaluable.
Invaluable.
You know, they say that there's two things in the world that define your true worth and that, or true success, and that is a long-term marriage and
49 years.
a credible name.
Smith.
I'm sorry, I'm going to identify as Smythe.
Smythe, okay.
Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
Come down to Sarasota, Florida, where it's actually not hot AF right now. It's hot today. It was kind of cool the past couple of days, but it's not hot AF as Florida. But I figured, hey, what the hell? We'll have Pops on and keep it mild so that my mom can listen to this episode and not roll her eyes or whatever when when the true me comes out with the no filter. I wasn't filtered on this show. I was just a little bit calmer.
I respect that.
I
appreciate that.
I had a 2 a day though. I did jujitsu earlier, and then I did boxing and weight training. So I don't post about it in today's world. If you don't make an Instagram post about you in the gym, it doesn't count. But I'm saying it on my podcast, so it counts today. Other than that, I've got an awesome setup for the new year. You know what? 2020 people are like, oh, 2020 sucked, blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to get out of it. And, 2020 was a great year for me, frankly, outside of the plague. It's great for business. I got a lot of cool time with my kids. I learned a lot. I learned how to play instruments and freaking edit software applications and whittle wood and use a saw and, build stuff, build a zip line and a platform and a freaking rock wall. I'm about to build a shooting house in the backyard for the kids. Yeah, because I got them airsoft guns for Christmas. And I got one myself because they're awesome. And I thought 2020 was a great year. 2021, all right. But I'll tell you this, in 2021, like they say 2020, and like the second zero is a mask, and then 2021 is a needle for an injection. And I still give the middle finger. I will not wear a mask in 2021. I will not get inoculation in 2021. And if that means that I can't travel internationally, fine. F you. I don't care. And if I have to show a vaccination card to get into an Uber or go into a restaurant, close your eyes, earmuffs, whatever. Here's my evacuation card. But until then, God bless our country. Enjoy your freedom. And we will talk to you with the next guest on the show, which you might know him. Until then, God bless America.